The bounty hunters. So Lord Schmidt, Gregory teases and gets a slap from the tip of Slytherin's tail. Your evil plan continues unabated. I can't believe this is working, Slytherin notes as he looks around the room. The Axiom forehead jewel is all he needs to have several different women, clearly looking for him, to miss him entirely. My face isn't that different. You did lose a little baby fat, but beyond the scar, that's it, Gregory notes. So they were really stuck on the scarred side of my face. Slytherin remarks even as his mother Cindy comes up with a trinity of large platters, 2 floating after her on Axiom effects, and the third in her hands. Mother Letha is partially transparent around them. Her towering presence would send quite the signal to everyone around where Slytherin is. The rest of the Chainbreaker are scattered throughout the hall to be in strategic locations, if anything happens. This has confused the ever-loving hell out of everyone else, and no one seems to know what to do, leaving Slytherin oddly unapproached the entire time and at the edge of laughter. Some have noticed, but they've taken a step back to see how long until the others notice. Litha notes as Cindy causes the 2 floating platters to slowly move towards Gregory and Slytherin's face. Slytherin's is packed with eggs, and Gregory has a lot of sliced meat, while Cindy has a platter full of shellfish. Thank you, sweetie. Any idea how long until they notice that we have him here? He asks her, and she laughs slightly. Oh, who knows? They're expecting a big protective detail, so... Oh, looks like someone's finally getting around to us, Cindy notes as a noblewoman and what looks like her bodyguard comes walking over. The Dren woman, followed by a brute Archana holding a massive curved and ornamental to the point of uselessness sword, walks up. The local standard for ornamentation seems to be make it useless, and then from there you triple it. The armor is just ornamentation that will get in the poor woman's way, if not catch on everything, everywhere all at once and trip the poor woman. Hydraulic strength be damned. The Arcana is in a tripping hazard. I did not expect this, young lord, the Dren woman states as she holds her 4 hands together. Although I am glad to have the opportunity to speak with you first. Oh? Slytherin asks. He's tempted to take off the jewel. He's not used to the weight, so it almost itches. Yes, I am the one who called protective services, she says, and Gregory's stance shifts. The power core of the prosthetic arm starts revving up just a little more in case he needs to make an example out of someone, and his eyes start shifting into a targeting mode. And you're apologizing. What was I supposed to do? I hear of a child being awarded the Crystal Star for courage and services, and I see a young man with half his face mutilated. I look into his family, and the first thing I see is another injured man. And you assume the worst? I assume that the more common scenario of abused men attached to warrior women than warrior men with legitimate battle scars was in play, and there was a desperate spin so the abuser could get away with their crimes. She says, Apologies. I am Lady Dalladis. Nice to meet you. I'm not sure about the proper greetings on things as I'm still legally a child and was looking up ways to avoid causing a potential feud than the more delicate points of imperial interaction. I honestly can say the ennobling was unexpected and, well, to be frank, aren't these kinds of manners the sort of thing that take a lifetime to master? Oh, learning the rules is quick. Mastering them to the point they're reflexive, that's what takes a lifetime. Again, I'm here to apologize, young man. I know it's no proper excuse, but I had recently indulged in several bits of media with stories similar to what I assumed was happening with you. I'm glad to have been proven wrong. Ah, that makes more sense, Gregory says as Pukey backs the hell off and the extra power in the arm turns down. It might not have any official weapons integrated into it, but there is nothing in the arm he can't incapacitate or kill with, including the screen projector for the computer. The grappling hook he hasn't had much chance to use is the one he can get really mean with. So, that footage my researchers found, the unending ecstasy casino in Rog, you destroyed it? I destroyed a casino that was using me as legal tender and knowingly catering to pirates and cannibals. By the time I reached the outside, the damage was so immense that there were no identifying marks and I was unfamiliar with the area. So I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you it was holding a small army of people in illegal and horrific contracts that bound them in indentured servitude in perpetuity. Not legal and not a good look for anyone that wants to defend that place. Gregory answers and Lady Dalladus nods. Of course. However, I'm here to thank you. The mad woman in charge of that ship was technically of similar ancestry to myself. Granted, she and I are genetically different, as two four-armed Drin can be without becoming another species entirely. But still, beyond species, what was the common point? What do you know about LeBlanc's history? Little. We arrived just a week and a half ago and began working immediately. We know the general idea. Numerous smaller nation-states and colonies coming together to try and make a greater example of things, coupled with a philosophy of obligation and excellence, coupled with communal responsibility. One of the primary colonial systems that became LeBlanc was born of another Drin colony world. The woman you killed with her own gilded weapon? She was from that original colony world. Ah, a thin connection at best. Still, connection enough that I thank you for doing away with that monster. Lady Dalladus notes before glancing around. You don't have to stand on ceremony. This is a place for dining with some socialization as well. You may eat while I am here. Oh, thank goodness, Cindy notes, and there is the crunch of her biting clean through the shell of a shrimp-looking bit of food. Quick question about LeBlanc history. The majority of its people appear to be of insect descent. Was this deliberate or coincidence? A bit of both. It was coincidence that so many colonies of insect peoples were so close together. However, the need for unity became clear later. Although, to be fair, we are a majority population type, not the sole population type, she says. Like any respectable starfaring empire, we have a wide variety of species of all kinds within our population and government. However, when we united, we were 83% insect. As such, we became a point of pride, and immigrants into the empire are majority insect as well. For all that the galaxy allows a great deal of movement, there is still a great deal of own-type preference. She explains, that makes sense. It also makes it kind of odd that I, a Nagasha, a reptile, am being honored like this. You wiped away an ancient stain of disgrace and avenged an enormous number of lost lives. Furthermore, if that shimmering sand nonsense is truly finished with, then you've also allowed Mordenand to develop further and stronger. If the liberation of one of our worlds, the avenging of our citizens, and sorting out ancient political issues all in one fell sweep isn't worthy of ennobling, then what could possibly be worthy of such? She asks, and Slytherin snorts in amusement. I suppose so, but it just seems, I don't know, it just seems like the right and normal thing to do. And that child is why a crystal star is pinned to your chest. Thank you for your time, and again, I apologize for any distress I caused. I acted far too rashly, she says before leaving with a nod. Her bodyguard poses for a moment and gives Gregory a clear look before her gaze flicks to his arm. She knows he was getting ready. Looks like the woman is a professional that's just being dressed up like showpiece. There, see? Not so bad. Gregory notes, and Slither gives him a look. He had sensed the powering up of his father's arm too. What? I was just being careful. You say not so bad, but you're the one ready to go through the whole room at the drop of a hat. No, I'll go through the whole room if they prove hostile, not if they drop a hat. What if they drop the hat? Slytherin asks with a grin. That's proving themselves hostile, Gregory answers. All right, I must admit I overheard part of that, and now I'm extremely confused. A new voice states as a snicked woman walks up. She has her own ornamental weapons and specialized snicked jewelry that weaves around her blade arms. They also would seriously slow her down if she goes hostile. And what is you so confused? Gregory asks as Slytherin's tail coils up behind his father to pull him right the hell behind him at a moment's notice. Dropping hats in hostility? She asks. Pardon? I am 4th Divine Leader Tarika. I'm going to be posted here on Mordenand after 2nd Divine Leader Shrubby Thread departs. Oh, at the drop of a hat is a human saying for being prepared to something at a moment's notice. We also have a crew member nicknamed the Hat. And you're afraid of things going hostile? Divine Leader Tarika asks. I'm a soldier, ma'am. I'm always ready, Gregory says. So you have a plan to fight your way out of this room? I and every member of my team have our own plans, Gregory answers. He then tilts his head to Slytherin. And I'll wager Slytherin here does as well. Shock the nearest guard with ornamental weapon, and then start throwing blame to get everyone together. If the whole room is hostile no matter what, then I have blades, and I can force my way out with Mother Litha as my shield and the rest of the crew as cover fire. Then I get my drones and start contributing to whatever it is they're doing. Not a very detailed plan, Terrica states. Things happen very fast in a fight, so anything but a really broad plan will just fall apart. Slytherin says, and Gregory nods. I see now, Terrica begins as she takes a step forward, and Slytherin starts to back away ever so slightly. She does not miss this. Is something wrong? The markings on his face he's currently hiding, and the one I have here? They were done by the same woman, a snikt, Gregory says, tracing the scar over his eye. Oh no. Was she under the sickness? Yes, but she was a monster even without it. She chose to be a monster, Slytherin says. Eating something you only see as food is one thing, but what she did was another. I see. My apologies for the discomfort then, Terrica says, turning to leave. No, you didn't do anything wrong. I just need more time to be really comfy, Slytherin says. But you're all right, buddy? Gregory asks, and Slytherin nods. And you were attacked by this woman within the last year? Terrica asks. Yes. And you've already recovered this much? I have. Remarkable. Still, I take no offense in it. I suffered the sickness for a time, and though I hurt no one and nothing until my cure, I still recall the mindset, the ideas I held, how horrifying they are from my perspective now, that someone who was indulging it rather than fighting it did that to you. You are lucky to be alive. Oh, that wasn't luck. It was further cruelty. And with that horrifying implication, I will depart. Again, I am sorry for the discomfort. Thought considering the woman looking to speak to you next, discomfort might be on the way. Terrica notes slyly, and there is an annoyed trilling sound. I'm sorry, what did you just say? An Urthani woman demands, walking up. She has no sign of extra-large wings, claws, proboscis, or extra antenna. Hello, Lady Prism. Still working on that newly grown temper of yours? Terrica asks in a cheeky tone. Struggling with the abominable appetite. Now if... Oh, you witch. Lady Prism answers before starting and then stopping her rant. Enjoy the celebrations. Thank you for clearing out the beast, by the by. Farewell, Terrica says, drifting away. Slice meat? Gregory asks in the moment of silence after Terrica departs. Yes, thank you. As plain as they taste now, they're still pleasant, Lady Prism says as she takes one of the little bits of meat off Gregory's platter.